Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 258 of the Drunk Dasher podcast. I'm your host as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Oh, hello, Tyler. I am doing alright. I don't know why I sounded so seductive right there, but at the same time...
My clothes are off.
Yeah, anyway. Anyway, I'm doing fantastic. Just sitting around in my chair, just looking through the recent issue of, like, Game Informer, their whole 300th issue and stuff, their whole top 300 stuff. So it's like, it's interesting seeing what games are in there, but at the same time, I'm kind of perturbed at, like, how many recent games that haven't even been out for, like, a year yet are on that list.
Yeah.
Too soon, in my opinion.
Too soon.
But...
Too soon. Yeah. In fact, the Detective Pikachu was number 7, was deeply upsetting. Should have been third.
Oh yeah, but how are you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing alright. Recording a little later than normal. It's still Saturday night. Went and hung out with our good friend Justin. Tonight. I don't know what to say anymore. Tonight it was kind of fun. Hang out, sat around the bonfire and a little fire pit he has, and drink a few beers, bullshitted around a little bit. Haven't seen him in a little while, so excuse me. That was nice too. Oh, tastes like Red Bull. Ugh. But yeah, I'm doing okay. It's nice working for I was telling Gables for the show. It's kind of nice working for a smaller company that's a little more religious based. So we got, because it's Easter weekend, I got Saturday off. So that was nice. So yesterday was indeed a Good Friday for me. But yeah, I'm doing okay. Things are looking up. Things are not so crazy at work anymore. We're not working as many hours, so I'm getting a little more free time to talk about games, or talk about games, play games. I'm now playing games more than I'm talking about games, which is a nice turn of events for me. But yeah, that's not really too exciting for me going on other than normal. Other than me getting, I showed Gables already, but I got my Detective Pikachu amiibo in. And he's like legitimately like 4 pounds. And I was showing Gables, we're looking at comparisons to my Pikachu amiibo that I have hanging up over here and this one, and it's like the hat on Detective Pikachu is like about the size of the regular amiibo Pikachu.
Yeah, no lie.
Yeah,
no lie there.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy seeing them side by side. When I first got the package in the mail, I was like, holy shit. It just blew me away. Like, I seen like comparison shots like online. I'm just like, okay, that looks a little bigger. But then when you actually see it and you hold it in your hand, I'm like, oh my god, this like that like you had that much weight in food, you can like feed like a small village for like a month. Like you had like a hot dog the size of Pikachu. You can feed a lot of people with that. Yeah, but not that I'm saying you should cook and eat a Pikachu. Pikachu lives matter, of course, hashtag that. But anyways, I don't know, I'm just rambling at this point. This is the Drunk Nerds podcast where we talk about video games, and I drink beer, and then Gables judges me for drinking that beer, but in a good way. He's here to keep me on track, right, Gables?
Yep. That's true.
Yep. But anyways, so not a lot going on in the world of gaming right now. I went deep into the news. Gables looked into the news. Couldn't really find anything that substantial or really worth talking about that wasn't more like a headline. So I thought it'd be kind of fun. Normally when we do the show, we'll talk about the news, and we'll talk about what's going on, and we don't really go back to it or talk about it anymore after that. Maybe like if it's about like a game coming out, we'll talk about it when the game comes out. But other than that, we really rarely ever go back and look back at like or talk about things after the initial like announcement of them. So I thought it'd be fun. It's March 31st as recording. We're literally minutes away for me in Central Time to being April 1st. So Q1 of 2018 is essentially officially over. And so I thought it'd be fun to kind of look back at some of the biggest things that happened the first 3 months of the year, the first quarter of 2018. I wrote some down, or I typed some out here on our show notes. Gables, if there's anything that I missed that you want to talk about, feel free to add them or sure, throw them out there. But I thought we'd just kind of go through them real quick. So I wanted to mention first, actually. So we talked about a lot back when it was first announced, but Nintendo Labo. We had kind of went into a weird discussion about it a couple months ago. I said it'd be really awesome if they just shipped you the Nintendo Labo in an actual Labo box. Like the box it came in was just actually the Labo. And I still think that'd be a genius idea. But I would say fairly negative on it. Gables, you were kind of in the middle about it. But I'm kind of curious now. Now that it's been a couple months, we're just a few weeks from it coming out. Where are you at on this now? We've had a little bit let it sink in and like think about how this is the real thing that's happening.
To be perfectly honest with you, I haven't really changed my thoughts and opinions on it all that much. Only for the fact that people are going to be bumping each other, going to be spending outrageous sums of money on pieces of cardboard. It is what it is, pretty much. You use your Joy-Cons to manipulate certain aspects of what is expected for those little devices you build yourself. I mean, it's a cute little like craft project and stuff like that you can go through. You can use with your kids or something. I see where Nintendo's coming from that, but at the same point, I think just going through and just the concept of just buying Labo in order to just enjoy a little bit more of like what you can with the Switch. I mean, it's for some people, but it really isn't for me. I still think the concept's kind of dumb, but hey, what do I know?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on it a little bit. I think this is actually going to be... I see this being, like, as far as like a business sense, can be a huge success for them. I think when this comes out and the first little bit of it being out, it's going to be very popular. I mean, it's already really hard to, I think the pre-orders are pretty much sold out for it. So whether that's a stocking thing or just it's a popularity thing, or a combination of the two, who knows? But I could see this kind of be like an amiibo thing to a certain extent, where amiibos are still kind of popular. Like you look, like, I can't find the Dark Souls one to save my life. Detective Pikachu sold out fairly quickly. The Metroid 2-pack they had was kind of tough to find, but after a few months, you can find them no problem. And I think the first 6 months to a year, it's going to be more of that same kind of thing where this thing's going to be maybe not to that level, but I think it's going to be one of those things where these are going to be hard to find. I think what's going to make it so popular is the fact that they're hard to find. I think that's what made Amiibo, or made them more than just kind of a footnote. The fact that we're still talking about them onto a new generation, I think a lot of it has to do with the difficulties of getting those back in the day. So I think that it's going to be one of those things that we're going to be talking about, maybe not a lot, but I think it's going to be something that's in the news and we're going to be hearing about. But I wouldn't be surprised. And this time next year, we're gonna be like, hey, remember when Nintendo tried selling people cardboard? Or in 2 years, especially, like maybe not a year from now, but 2 years from now, I feel like I feel like this could be like the PlayStation move of Nintendo for this generation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not sure. I think it's going to be more successful than the PlayStation Move.
Well, no, I don't.
But
I think it's going to be more successful than that. Don't get me wrong, but I think how quickly the PlayStation Move came and went, I think it's going to be kind of similar to that. Within like a year, no one gives a shit about it.
That's very true. Kind of the same concept with when Nintendo brought out that Wii balance board, stuff like that. How quickly that kind of faded away after.
Yeah.
I kid you not, still to this day, at my workplace, we get so many of those Wii balance boards. Nintendo basically sold people a digitalized bathroom scale.
Yeah.
And for like $100 along with a game for the Wii. And what did people use it for? They just just literally collected dust in their closet, and all of a sudden you could find them like pretty much like $5 like used at the Goodwill, pretty much.
Yeah. Anybody that bought that's a dumbass. I bought 2 of them. It was cheaper if you bought the second game with the fit board and then buying it separately when I found it. So that's why I bought 2 of them. But it's still really dumb. Don't do that. Yeah, that's a good point. If you're gonna use a Nintendo analogy, the Wii Fit board would make more sense. Yeah, this is gonna be a fad. I think that's gonna quickly be a thing that's gone. Unless they do something substantial with it, other than what it is right now, in the next few months, in the next 6 months. I think the holiday season is going to be the thing that makes or breaks the Labo. honestly. So we'll know more about then. But speaking of things happening on 420, Hitler's birthday. Let's talk about it.
What?
I'm kidding. God of War. God of War.
Oh, God of War.
Yes.
Good.
We were talking. We kind of talked about it a little bit before the show. But I mean, I'm obviously gonna pick it up. I've talked about it before. God of War wasn't really my bag back in the day, but yeah, I am insanely excited for this game. Where are you at on this one, Gables?
You know what? My excitement is actually up there. I kind of want to see what's going to go on with this game. I've seen some footage of it. I have not seen the entirety of the most recent gameplay of it, but from what I've seen, the combat looks more refined. It's not like over the top-esque like the original, the original God of War series was.
There's no sex game, sounds like.
Well, with like heavy inspiration towards like Devil May Cry and stuff from those games, but this definitely looks like something that's going to be worth watching. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it feels almost like a new game, it's a new franchise to me. So, like I think I said a few weeks or a little while back, but it feels like they kind of took a step, like kind of some notes from Naughty Dog, and they kind of like it feels like it feels very mature, like Kratos feels like something you would see from like Naughty Dog, like The Last of Us or Uncharted in a way. So yeah, I'm really excited for that game. Where do I want to go from here? We're gonna jump into actually I want to jump into some of the games, some of the early games that come out this year.
Okay.
Any big games that come out in the first few months that really have kind of like stood out to you?
Well, let's see. I'm just trying to think exactly what I was into pretty much. The only really like games I could think of that were pretty decent. I mean, Dragon Ball FighterZ was definitely something that released early this year that I pretty much had been like playing almost like nonstop when it was first released and stuff over the past couple months. I've since like the past couple weeks I put it down, but that's definitely one example. Now the other examples and stuff that are kind of noticeable, that even though I haven't personally played, which that's going to be changing pretty soon, but Celeste has actually been one of those games that has been sort of an indie darling.
Yeah.
Coming forth with all the myriad of so many other like decent to average indie games that have been coming out. So that's definitely one. The last one I could think about, boy oh boy, man, I'm kind of like no, wait a minute. The last major game which I could give credit to is like the Monster Hunters game for like PS4. Personally, have not played that either, but it's been getting some good praise.
Yeah,
there's definitely some good elements of that game that people love, and so those are the three big games that I could think of in terms of this year so far.
Okay. If you would have told me going into 2018 that the first quarter of the year, the most, like when you before this week, because we'll talk about that later, but if you would have told me that the most like the most fun gaming experiences you've had in the first 3 months of 2018 was 2 remakes and a Dragon Ball Z game, I would have thought you were fucking insane. But you look at it where Dragon Ball FighterZ was and still is a fucking incredible game. So
Agreed.
Fun. I have no clue what the hell they're talking about, what's going on. But the game is incredibly fun. And Shadow of Colossus and Burnout Paradise. Revisiting Paradise City.
Ooh, yeah.
We talked about in the last couple episodes, but has been insanely fun going into. And then Shadow of Colossus was a game that I wish I would have played back in the day. I think it would have stuck a lot more if I would have played it in 2005 and 2018. But still a game that I knew everything about going into it, and it still affected me in a way I didn't think it would do. Was really well done. So yeah, it's been a really weird first few months where we've gotten a lot of news. The video games coming out. There's been some good ones that have come out. Like I said, Monster Hunter, Celeste, Shadow of the Colossus, Dragon Ball Fighters, Burnout Paradise, and then the games we're going to talk about later today, later on the show. But yeah, it's just been a crazy first few months. So yeah, where do we want to go from here? Actually, I want to talk about a little bit about Xbox Game Pass.
Okay.
We talked about it a couple months ago when they announced that all Sea of Thieves was going to be the first big first party game that comes to the Game Pass, where they're going to all first party title games are going to be on Game Pass day one, and we thought that was a huge game changer. And it's still early. The Sea of Thieves just came out on the 20th. I think it was 20th to 23rd, and it came out, and the first couple days, the servers were down a lot, or people couldn't get into the game. And then they were saying that well over 1 million people had played the game in the first week of it being out, which is awesome. And a lot of that has to do with the Xbox Game Pass. No breakdown who actually paid for it, who actually bought the game, or who's free trial, or who's on Game Pass. But I mean, so we've only got the first real sample, and it's a very small sample. It's been out for, I think, like 10, 11 days. But we're kind of seeing the so far a little bit of the effects of what they can have on it. And this is just a brand new franchise, possible franchise, from a company, Rare, that hasn't really done anything substantial in gaming since the 64 days, probably would be safe to say. 20 years. So, and to see that happening is, I think, a real, I guess, positive sign. Would be the best way to look at it from a gamer standpoint, and from Xbox standpoint. This is a Microsoft standpoint. We're like, hey, this is working. This is a game that who knows how well. I think this game would have been successful. What if it was $60? But I think it's being on the game on the Games Pass is made this game even more popular. Gave a lot more notoriety than it would have had before. Now it's, this is, like I said, it's a game from a developer that was really popular, one of the best in the game 20 years ago, and now we're in a generation where a lot of people playing games nowadays either were toddlers or weren't even born when Rare was in their heyday. And then this is also a new franchise. This is kind of a much different game than what we're used to seeing, especially, I mean, the closest we've got to is Black Flag. So yeah, it's just kind of cool to see that that this game is being successful. We obviously heard some mostly not great feedback about this game. Not so much the gameplay itself and what's going on in the game, but just kind of what you do in the game. But to see that it's got a pretty large audience is pretty cool, and I'm kind of curious how. I don't know if these numbers are ever going to come out, but I'd like to see the impact it did on the Game Pass. What about you, Gables?
Yeah, I kind of want to see how, I kind of wish I could see, how Game Pass has actually affected Sea of Thieves and stuff in terms of the sales and stuff. Because, I kid you not, if that game had not been on the Game Pass, I would suspect you wouldn't even have half of those people on that freaking server stuff day one. I mean, hey, $60 for that game. Hey, it's give or take a little bit debatable, considering that the game wasn't really even complete when it first launched either. But the whole thing about the Game Pass and stuff, that's just been a really interesting thing over this past year, where it's a very good barrier to entry. You pay about $10 a month, you get all these access to these games, and the confirmation of having some recent releases come onto the Game Pass as part of the subscription. It's a bold move by Microsoft. But I think it's been, ultimately, I feel like so far it's been successful, especially in the case of Sea of Thieves. Even though there are server issues, even though there are many issues that do plague certain online games when they first release, yeah, I think it's definitely a good step in the right direction for Microsoft and the whole Game Pass stuff.
Yeah, and we'll know a little more, because I think was that State of Decay 2 comes out in May. That's kind of the next big exclusive for Microsoft. I think the biggest one we're going to see, though, is Crackdown 3, at least in the near future. We don't know. Obviously, E3 is still happening. We don't know what's going to happen there. But it's a positive, kind of first example first showing for what Game Pass can do for some of these games. Oh, hi Louie. Louie's staring at me now. Sorry guys. But is there anything actually that you like? Anything that's happened that we didn't cover here that you'd like to talk about for the first quarter of 2018?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, there have been plenty of things that have happened in that span of time and stuff. Oh boy, especially with like the duration of stuff of how like Battlefront 2 has been doing and stuff with like the whole issues and stuff like with the whole microtransactions and the whole like loot crate stuff. The beginning part of this year has just been crazy.
Yeah. I did see Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was one was at GameStop a couple days ago.
Yep.
They had it for $40 brand new, so it's already dropped in price very quickly. So.
Well, yeah, very quickly too. Plus, they most recently, I think, added in microtransaction stuff for the loot crates and stuff.
It's all cosmetic stuff, yeah.
Yep. Now it's all the cosmetic stuff. But at the same point and stuff, that's one of the other aspects that have happened this year is like gamers have gotten so tired of like the whole loot crate stuff to the extreme, as the case with like Battlefront 2 and stuff, to where a big major company was really just started to back away from it once like Disney got wind of like how negative the response was from the general public. So in of itself, that is somewhat of a victory, but it's not really as big as what some people would expect, considering that there is still loot crates, there's still loot box stuff hidden inside games, like as recent as say, from like over the past couple months, from Assassin's Creed Origins to like even more recent games have like the various loot crate stuff. But it's just really crazy, just the amount that some game developers do try to get away with in terms of getting extra content, extra things here and there. I mean, I understand you want to get the most bang for your buck, but at the same time, it's just that's just basically how I feel about it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of curious how it's kind of been tamed a little bit. Like you don't see, like I'll talk about a little later, but Far Cry 5, I was looking at like what kind of stuff they have, and they kind of still have like the same thing Origins did, where you can spend in-game currency that you make while playing the game on items and like weapons and stuff like that, or you can spend real money and buy this different currency that you can buy items in the game with. So that's still a thing, but it's not as egregious as some of the other things we've seen. But yeah, it's kind of we haven't really seen the next big AAA game. I don't think we're really going to see how much that microtransaction, the loot box stuff has been affected until probably maybe like around when like the Call of Duty comes out and the next Battlefield game comes out. That's when I think we'll really start to see how like if this really made an effect or not on those. Because when the next big EA and Activision games come out, I think that's what's gonna show you. Because Ubisoft has always had the microtransaction, not always, but the last couple of years have always had they've had those microtransactions in there, but they haven't really been that egregious or upfront about it. Like Activision and EA have been the most probably the two worst about it. So I think those are going to be when we start to see those their big guns come out. I think that's when we're really going to see. And I think Burnout Paradise not sneaking freaking microtransactions into it is, I don't know if I want to say it's a good kind of first step, because who knows if that was a plan or not, but I wouldn't have been surprised to see EA try to sneak in cosmetic microtransactions for Burnout Paradise.
Actually, can I just say something for a minute? Yeah. You bring up a good point with Burnout Paradise Remastered. To an extent, I'm kind of amazed that all the DLC stuff from that game, including the cars, including all this stuff right there, is included in that entire package without the use of like a microtransaction or having to pay extra for freaking DLC, like say Activision for their Call of Duty stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, more specifically, Call of Duty 4 and the whole remastered of the remastered maps.
Yeah. I
mean, come on.
Charging you $15 for a map pack that was $10 a decade ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, but that's in this day and age and stuff where you're so used to like a company just taking out a lot of the content from like even certain things like remasters and this and that. having a big AAA company like EA actually not doing it for the extent of Burnout Paradise Remastered feels weird, and at the same time, it feels actually okay.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, who knows if that was going to be a plan or who's the thing or not, but it's, I mean, kind of trying to find the positive in it. Like that might be one.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's something we'll probably only know how whether or not last year's thing worked or not until probably the end of this year. But
yep.
So when we were talking about what's going on the last few months, what are some things you're looking forward to the next couple months? Like anything? I know we just talked about God of War, but is there anything like news wise or game wing wise that you're excited to see or get your hands on?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to E3. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I actually just I forgot about that one.
Well, that's just the thing, though. E3 coming up in the next couple months is going to be a very pivotal one for all three companies because, for one, Nintendo's in the forefront with the Switch. A year after, they've gained a bunch of momentum and a bunch of ground, securing not only good exclusive games, but also getting a lot of the indie support that was predominantly on the PlayStation Vita onto their system as well, it feels like. To the extent where it's like people can go through, they can look on the eShop. There is constantly, every week, like about maybe, God, I want to say like 7 to 10 games released per week, and some of which are like really decent titles that you can, well, granted, you could buy on other services like, say, a Steam, PlayStation Network, Microsoft Store, but the fact of the matter is you can play them on the go, or play them on your TV, or do this and do that. That versatility is what's put the Nintendo Switch on, I would say, like almost like a escalation course towards like something even higher in terms of like not only exposure but like momentum, like I just said before. But what I'm more looking forward to is the exclusive stuff that Microsoft may unveil at this year's E3. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what Sony is going to be having in store for like that I want to say this sort of like Last of Us sort of esque, sort of like biker kind of like game or something like that. What was that?
Days Gone?
Days Gone. Yeah, I want to see what they have done with Days Gone because they more recently have pushed back that game to like, say, 2019, where it was originally supposed to be released later part of this year. I'm interested in seeing that. I'm interested in seeing some actual gameplay of The Last of Us 2 this time. But I'm also looking forward to potentially what Nintendo is going to be doing. I mean, we've already got a good idea of what they're going to be releasing for the spring. We don't know what's going to be going on past inside the fall. There's high speculation that there's going to be a Pokemon game for Switch coming out by the end of this year. Actually, I was looking into some of the rumors stuff, and there are people supposedly leaking like particular images, and there's rumor has it that this new Pokemon game that they reveal is probably going to be maybe a reboot of Red and Blue, and that is something that's kind of interesting in and of itself.
I'm 100% okay with that.
Well, yeah, hell, a lot of us are okay with that, because it would actually make more sense, because for this previous generation, Generation 7, that whole thing would have ended entirely too soon.
No.
In the aspect, because Sun and Moon released like around 2016.
Yep.
Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon released last year.
Mm-hmm.
They normally give much more leeway until the next generation. Even when they did the sequels, one after another, from Black to Black 2 and White to White 2 and stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to seeing gameplay for Metroid Prime 4. I want to see that. Hopefully around this E3. But other game-wise and stuff like that, man, it's kind of hard because other than those couple, I really don't know what else I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, it's a weird year where the spring is pretty much filled up, summer's kind of filled up a little bit. There's some obviously a lot of gaps there, but fall is. I mean, we know Battlefield, we know Call of Duty's coming. But that's it. Like Falls and Red Dead Redemption 2. Like that.
I actually think fall is like wide open, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of uncertainty with fall other than like some of the big AAA titles.
Yeah, we got the big three, and then there's a lot of other stuff in there they can fill in. But yeah, I'm obviously I'm looking at April, May, June, E3. It's gonna be pretty big. I think that's, like I said, what we were just saying. Like the second half of the year is pretty much wide open. Usually we have a general idea what's coming out. But it's pretty much already kind of full. Usually going about this time of the year, we just don't have dates.
Right.
And right now we have Call of Duty. We know there's a Call of Duty coming. We don't know anything about it other than it's Black Ops 4. There's a Battlefield game that's probably gonna be World War II, and then Red Dead Redemption 2. Other than that, we have nothing. And then Smash. We assume is second. It's gonna assume is coming sometime in the fall. But yeah, I mean, look, news wise, that's it. I'm hoping there's another big direct before E3. Always look forward to directs. But gaming wise, even we were talking about God of War. I've nerded out enough on the history of the show about Hyrule Warriors. Incredibly excited to play that again. Detroit, I think, is probably one of the games going into the year I was most excited to play. And the more I've seen about it, and I'm at the point now where I'm just avoiding seeing anything about it and hearing anything about it. Because, I really like Quantic Dreams games I've talked about before. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the game. I'd say that's the game I'm most looking forward to in the next 3 months. God of War is a close second. Obviously, I love Hyrule Warriors, but I've already played the game once before. And then Mario Tennis Aces looks awesome. So, I'm sure there's gonna be some more games coming in the next few months that we don't know about yet or don't have dates for yet. But yeah, I don't know. And Yoshi, that's a weird game. Where like it was shown off at E3 last year, 2018 release date, and we haven't heard a thing about it since.
Not very much at all, actually. I'm kind of wondering if they've done more to it, and they're going to reveal more of it when coming E3. Because it looked kind of plain, even when it was unveiled last year. Yeah, I feel like that's going to be like a July or August kind of game. Like, it's going to kind of come out. But it's just kind of weird. Like, Kirby and Yoshi were shown off back-to-back at E3 last year. Were revealed at the same time. And we got Kirby, but we don't have anything with Yoshi. Yeah, Kirby's already been out for a couple weeks now, and we haven't heard a thing about Yoshi in almost a year. But I think this can kind of cover everything. Like I said, no actual news this week. I thought it was kind of fun, though, to talk about things that just kind of look at the last few months and then what's the next couple months. So that pretty much kind of covers the news for the week. But let's go ahead and jump into some games we talk about. Gables, what have you been playing, buddy? Well, as far as games are concerned and stuff like that, I'm not too sure. Did I say a little bit about me finishing up Pokemon Emerald last week? I think you touched on it. I think you... Which one? You beat one, and you moved on to the next one. Oh, yeah. Well, like I was... Go on, Dom. Well, anyway, yeah, I did finish up and beat Pokemon Emerald and stuff like that. I got that all finished and stuff. But as with other things inside this whole Poke Warriors way, I started another adventure, but this time in Pokemon Platinum, where I finally have moved on from like the small DS Lite screen, which that was the only way I was able to play Emerald, by the way. I wanted to do the original games instead of the remakes. So I went ahead and I started a new save file for Pokemon Platinum. I am currently 3 gyms in, around 9 hours, actually. So this game, in and of itself, has taken longer to go forth and progress through. Because the thing about Diamond and Pearl and Platinum and stuff, this generation of Pokemon games, there's a lot more fluff. There's a lot more, things that make things feel longer than usual. Plus, for my party this time around, I actually have a good idea of what I want to use. Considering Pokemon Platinum, it offers a lot more in terms of the variety of Pokemon you can choose and have on your party. So I actually got a full party right now, and I chose a Chimchar as mine for my starter Pokemon. I found a level 10 Golbat inside the Wayward Cave, I believe it is, right towards the beginning of the game. So it's like, I caught a Golbat, I got like a little Shellos, this little water ground type Pokemon that I'm going to be using for my party, because Gastrodon, what it evolves into, actually is good versatility for having some bits of special moves, let's say like Surf and Ice Beam and stuff. I caught a Gibble. A Gibble's a little Dragon Ground Pokemon that fully evolves into Garchomp, which is probably one of the best Pokemon inside that game. So I'm happy about that. But the last thing is I caught a Rosalia. Rosalia, during my Pokemon Diamond playthrough last year, was actually pretty darn awesome. And I had to go forth and get this Pokemon. So it's like, I've done that. They are, right now, like, they're about in their mid to late 20s. And like I said before, I had just finished up with the gym leader, Fantina or something like that, her ghost types and stuff, which was... It was interesting, though. It was kind of a pain in the ass, because the end portion of that match has to do with her Miss Magius, this giant, like, freaking ghost-type Pokemon that evolves from Misdreavus, a Gen 2 Pokemon. But, oh man, just little odds and ends and stuff of trying to face off against that Pokemon. Using, like, moves, like, say, like, Pain Split and this and that. It was just crazy as shit. But I'm letting you guys know that, yes, I'm still doing these whole Pokemon game playthroughs and stuff. I literally went through 3 Pokemon games in a month. That's insane. Yeah. It's insane by my standards. Normally, when I do stuff like this, I usually go forth, I play through them and stuff. Maybe it'll take like a month or something for me to beat, because I'm doing this and doing that. No, I've had such a craving. I was on such a Pokemon kick, which I still am currently, where I've went through one after another, and then all of a sudden it's like with the Emerald one, it's starting to like escalate a little bit. Now with Platinum, it's definitely feeling like, hey, I'm probably going to take my time with this. Because things are starting to unravel. Things are starting to like build up again and stuff. I'm starting to feel out what I like about these particular Pokemon games in comparison to some of the last ones. And that's just something that's kind of interesting, because I've played through and progressed through the Pokemon games, I'm noticing the little bits of improvements over each installment, and I'm also become more welcoming to some of the newer additions inside the newer generations, because it makes certain aspects of this game easier to, like, not only managing stuff, but also it makes things really, like, much more user-friendly for someone like myself and stuff who, yeah, I have been playing Pokemon games since they've come out, initially in the late 90s, and all the way up to about last year and stuff, at Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and stuff. Things are streamlined now to a point where it's like, okay, this is fun. If I want a challenge, I'll turn off the whole experience shared things here and there, but just the progression through that has just been really fun. I cannot wait until I go through, like, Black and White and stuff like that. The next game's after Platinum. But other games that I have been playing, let's see. I have not went through any more Burnout Paradise Remastered yet. I mean, I still have every intention of playing more of that game. But what I have done, I picked up 2 games from GameStop last Sunday. I picked up South Park, The Fractured But Whole. Mm-hmm. I know. New game. It's still funny just saying that. And it's like, I picked it up new at GameStop for about $20, and I believe that I got the whole Stick of Truth deals, like the downloadable content of it too. By the way, for those who are wondering though, they did most recently release like DLC for Casa Bonita, so hell, for those who want to play that and stuff, get on it. But no, I have not touched that game yet. But I have played a bit of the other game that I bought, the whole Devil May Cry Remastered. Now, Devil May Cry Remastered, this is definitely, in my honest opinion, a port of the PS3 collection. Meaning, this is like basically a port of a port. So,
classic Capcom. Sorry.
Yeah. Basically, it's like what Tyler was saying. It's definitely classic Capcom. Now, background on Devil May Cry. This is a series that's been around since the PS2 era. It released around 2001, the original did, around 2001, near the launch of the PS2. There were other games that released in that franchise. One of the worst, actually, is the sequel to it, Devil May Cry 2. And if you ask certain people, that's probably one of the worst of that series. So, here's the thing, though. I have major nostalgia for Devil May Cry. Especially Devil May Cry 3, as I bought that back around the time that I had turned 18. That and the original God of War, actually, I can remember, like, buying. Because this is during the time when I was still, like, around, like, a junior or senior in high school, and I barely had any money to my name or something like that. And I'd be saving change, saving money that my parents give me, and I'd go to, like, places like GameStop or to Walmart and buy games, $20, like, clearance. You know, games like, say, Shadow of the Colossus, God of War, like, I can just remember, like, just buying Devil May Cry, the special edition. Hell, I bought Metal Gear Solid 3 that way, too. Nice. But, here's the thing. Devil May Cry 3. I've only played through Devil May Cry 3 to a certain extent. I never beat that game back in the day. I want to beat this game now, because I know that there are some great bosses at the end of that game. So, as it stands right now, the gameplay for the remastered version here for this PS4 collection disc is quintessentially kind of like the same. It basically feels the same as the PS2 version. The only difference is it feels like, from the visual fidelities and some of the aspect ratios of the quality of the image, it looks like it was up-resed up to HD, kind of similar to what the other collection of the PS3 was. I know, I've had that collection at one point. But it just feels like to me that the game in of itself is kind of like there was little done to improve, like, the whole collection aspect of this game. I mean, they could have at least kind of adjusted it so I can have, like, a, you know, ratio that would actually fit the screen of my TV instead of, like, being boxed with sidebars and stuff like that and this and that. The gameplay in of itself is still Devil May Cry to its core, so it's like I said, I chose Devil May Cry 3 to play first. As that is said, I went through and I realized kind of like how difficult the game can get if you don't have, like, a lot of the whole soul stuff, like, built up, and you don't have plenty of the moves. Plus, inside Devil May Cry 3, you choose from one of 4 different styles. You have, like, a trickster style, which makes you a little bit more, like, evasive. You have sort of like a royal guard style, which is based upon, like, defense. I think it's like defensive stances and all this other crazy stuff. I'm not clear on that one. The other one is gunslinger, which is pretty much self-obvious. You're using a lot of your gun weapons and all this other stuff, which is kind of fun to use and stuff. But the one I chose was sword master, where you use your sword, the rebellion and stuff, to basically learn all these different types of, like, sword moves where you can just propel enemies in the air and start firing here and there and stuff. It's just that type of over-the-top action that I just love about that series. So I've played through up until Mission 5. Here's the thing. Mission 1 I went through, that was easy as it was. I mean, I remember going through the first 4 missions of Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition. The boss I got stuck on was the boss where it's basically like a gigantic, like, demonic sort of, like, flying serpent or something that's going around the stage and stuff, and it's going through, like, a bunch of these, like, huge holes in the pillar and stuff like that for the Teneneguru, that whole tower that you see towards the beginning of the game. It didn't dawn on me until I faced off against that boss for the 3rd time, and by accident I fell on top of the darn thing, and I realized I could just slash the hell out of that damn serpent while I'm riding on top of it. Because your major instinct is you want to try to attack it from below, but the problem is, by attacking from below, it sometimes shoots off these projectiles and stuff that you gotta dodge. And when you face off against, like, about 10 or 12 of those projectiles all at once, it's very hard to try to dodge this boss. But in of itself, the gameplay's still fun. The visual stuff could use some improvements, obviously. I don't like how, like, some bits of the presentation for that game was done for this collection, but you can still view a lot of the artwork. You can actually, that's one of the things I do like about this collection so far, is that you can view the artwork for the specific games. Like, going through a lot of Devil May Cry 3's artwork was pretty fun. Some was, like, really gothic, really, like, kind of like, really cool and visual, like, concept, what they came up with in terms of level design, sort of character designs. And, yeah, basically that's pretty much what I have been playing in terms of games. Pokemon Platinum and Devil May Cry 3. 2 old games.
That's cool, though, man. Yeah, just go. I mean, it's a new game-ish, so... That's cool. Hey, as long as you're having fun, that's what the point of video games are. So, glad you're having fun with that. It makes me a little jealous. Like, I don't enjoy the Pokemon games as much as I used to back as I did when I was a kid. So, I've been playing a couple games this week as well. Picked up Far Cry 5. Real quick, Detective Pikachu. I beat Chapter 1 last week, and I talked about it on the show. I beat Chapter 2 this week. I don't really want to talk much more about it. I want to play some more of it, but been sidetracked with these other games I'm about to talk about. So maybe next week or the week after I'll talk about more if I delve more into it. Like I said, picked up Far Cry 5. Probably put 5 or 6 hours into this. And I've been someone that I played Far Cry 3 and 4. I skipped Primal. I played a little bit of Far Cry 1 back when I think it was like a 360 launch game. Never played 2. So really, I kind of really enjoyed Far Cry 3. 4 was really good, but I thought it was okay. It was just more of 3, which is fine, but it wasn't anything substantial that I thought like that made it stand out. And this one, it's taken a lot of steps to change to kind of stand out a little bit more. So this one, we talk about a lot. It takes place in I almost said Manhattan. That's not true. Takes place in Montana. And kind of what's going on. It starts off as you're this rookie deputy in this small town in Montana, and there is this religious cult, like super religious cult, run by, I think, Joseph Seed is his name, and it starts off as like a U.S. Marshal, and you're in a helicopter, and you land, and you're there to arrest them, and for like murder and kidnapping and all these terrible crimes, and basically the Joseph Seed has been prophesizing about like when they come and try to shut us down, that's the first step in like essentially the apocalypse, and so like all these cult followers now think, like, all right, he's here. Like, they're here to stop him and shut this down. Now, like, all these believers, it's like it's coming true. What everything he's saying is happening, and so now it's like they already kind of ran the town almost like a gang or a mob sort of way, where they ran things behind the scenes, and even in front of the scenes. But I mean, for the most part, they own the radio stations. They own some. They bought some time on like television, local television networks, and they were a big part of the community. But now it's like, now they're taking over this town and this whole area. And because now they think that Armageddon and the apocalypse is really happening. And they basically, like, they stop you from taking Joseph Seed away. And now they're crazier than ever, going around just killing people and basically just doing whatever the hell they want to do. Without any regard really to anything else, and like you're pretty much like target number one for them, and it's kind of got some, like, I played Ghost Recon Wildland a few months ago, and you played the hell of it last year, and it kind of follows that kind of same format where instead of like a bunch of like different people you got to take out, there's 4 main people. There's Joseph Seed, who's the main guy. He has his older brother John. There's this one lady they call her Sister Seed, but she's not actually a member of she's not a blood relative, but she's kind of one of the top people in the group. And then there's another brother, I can't remember what his name is, I haven't met him yet. I think I'm on John's Seed right now. Each one has their own characteristics, and you have to go to like different sections of the map and create enough havoc and take over enough areas. And the more and more you do, the more chaos you do in that area, is when you can finally fight the final boss of that section.
I see. So basically, it's sort of structured like a hierarchy, sort of like similar to what Recon Wildlands and stuff was.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of the same thing of that, where like you just go around, like you can take over bases, or you can destroy like things they use for service, like things they use like services, or stop, like there's vans or going around with supplies. You can stop them, and like or you can like you find civilians that are being like tortured or captured by the group, and you can save the civilians, things like that. Basically, like I said, you cause chaos and you just disrupt what they do. And it's definitely a lot of fun. I like I really enjoyed the Far Cry game. It's more the Far Cry. They've done some cool changes to it where like now it's not like it used to be. Like most games you play, especially like Ubisoft games, was they have the skill tree, and it's like it kind of spiderwebs off, but you have to like get, if you want this thing that's like on level 6, you gotta get 1 through 5 to get there. Well, now it's like you gotta like unlock 1 through 5 to get to like level 6. Now it's just kind of like each like everything's open right away on this. Like it's no longer a skill tree. It's just like there's like 30 different skills you can learn. Each one has different points for how many it's worth, but you can get them essentially anytime you want, as long as you have the points. They call them perks to get there. And there's like challenges you do, like get like 10 kills with the shotgun gets you 2 perk points, things like that. So basically you just kind of go, you get perks by and also like by completing like missions in the game and side missions. You get more perks that way. So there's not like any level. Used to be like a leveling system, and every time you leveled up you get 1 ability point for your skill tree. Now it's like just doing challenges and things around the world unlocks perk points.
See.
So you're constantly like, I'm constantly getting like, not I shouldn't say constantly, but I've gotten probably about 20 perk points in 4 hours or so of playing this game. And I've gotten a handful, like obviously some of the better ones cost a little more, like 7, 8, 9 perk points, but then there's some other ones you can get that are only a few. I focus on it because the game was a lot more challenging than I remember Far Cry 3 and 4 being. I feel like there's a lot more enemies that you'll see. Like you see a lot more patrol units going around. At one point, I was just walking around, and a helicopter started just like attacking me, and then a bear attacked me, and then then all of a sudden there was like a bombardment of the call them like Eden's Path or Eden something. I can't remember. Like it's Eden Falls or something. I can't remember what the name of the cult is. But like all of a sudden you're just swarmed by these guys, and so like I feel like I'm constantly being bombarded with them and fighting them. And like I don't go very long without seeing them, especially if you're on the main road. But like I remember talking about on Far Cry 4 that the honey badger was like was an asshole. In this game, the turkey is the real asshole of this game. They're probably the toughest enemy in this game is the turkey. The
turkey.
Yeah, there was actually an update that came out, and like you can always look up the update notes on the PS4 whenever an update comes out. And one of the updates, I was looking at the notes of it, is making I can't remember exactly how it was phrased, but it was basically nuke the turkey, where like it made him way less powerful, because like I mean these things would like kill you one-on-one. It wasn't like a swarm of them. It was just one. Like I can kill 10, 15 guys shooting at me with machine guns, no problem. But one turkey is a bitch in this game. It's a little easier. When a game first came out, it's got a lot easier, but they were still fucking difficult as shit. Yeah, there's a new honey badger of the Far Cry world. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's having a lot. I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's definitely it's great to be back in a Far Cry game. It's cool to see it kind of being it's a lot different from what we're used to from a Far Cry game. And it seems like the especially the last 2 Far Cry games, the villain has been the most standout part of the game. And it seems like Voss from Far Cry 3 is still one of the best villains in a game. Probably at least the last decade, probably one of the better ones ever. And Joseph Seed, the Seed family, are up there too. So yeah, it's been incredibly fun. But there's been a game I've been playing way more of this week. And it's a little bit of an older game. It's a game that's not even officially out yet, still early access. But I've been playing the hell out of a game called Fortnite Battle Royale.
Okay.
So people, we've talked about a lot. We talked about a little bit about PUBG. It's been PUBG and Battle Royale games have been kind of like the big phenomenon over the last 12 months or so. Fortnite Battle Royale came out, I want to say in like September, October of last year, and it's free to play. PUBG is $30. And there's some, you can buy like packs and buy cosmetics and stuff like that if you want. But we were actually talking about off the air sometime last weekend, like, it's free, I should just check it out. Like, I haven't played one of these Battle Royale games yet. And I'm like, and I was kind of bored on Saturday or Sunday. I'm like, I'll give it a shot, check it out. I'm not really doing anything. I kind of want to see what all the hubbub is about. And I've been talking to people at work, and everybody's like, you should just play some Fortnite. I'm like, it's not my game. I'm not really an online guy. And so I downloaded it. I checked it out. Kind of a quick synopsis, if you don't already know. 100 people on a map, last man. You go in there with nothing. You have like an axe that you can use to like break down. Like, you can break down material, and you can build walls or build ladders, whatever the hell you want to build in this game. But the core concept is you land, you have nothing, you find loot, find guns and ammo and things like that, and last man survive wins. And immediately came out, and like my first game, I finished like 36th. I'm like, holy crap! Out of 97 players, I was 36th. That's awesome. Let's see if I can do better. And I kept getting to like in the 30s, and then I'm like, all right, well, okay, so this is all right. So I was trying to like do it like a normal, like a Call of Duty, like we just run around. And then I'm like, all right, well, let's camp a little bit. And I'm like, all right, cool. Now I'm getting the top 25 a lot now. Now I'm actually like, I've legitimately, like, I played probably 20 or 30 games now of this game. And probably actually more than that. And I am like almost always inside the top 15 now. Like,
nice.
And I don't know how I'm doing it. Like, I don't have a lot of kills. I probably had like 12 kills in this entire game. Like, I went like 8 or 9 games before I had my first kill, and I had 2 kills like back to back. And that was like, before that, I never had a single kill. And so yeah, like it's man, like everything I've heard about this game, you know, is like, oh, it's so tense. Like your heart's pounding, especially when you get further in the top 10, and like there's a storm coming, so it makes you like, you have to be inside the circle every like 3 or 4 minutes, so it kind of shrinks the map quite a bit. So that's kind of nice, because otherwise it's a big map. So you can imagine there's 3 players on this giant map. The game's never end. So it's kind of, it gets even more hectic when you're like, you no longer can like hide in a shack for 10 minutes, or like the shack you've been hiding in forever, or this bunker you made. Now it's like, oh, the storm's coming. If you're in the storm, you're dead. So like now, like you're getting, like, I got to one point where there was like 4 people left. I was one of the 4, and I actually found like this bush camouflage. So it was a bush, and I just sat there for like probably 6 minutes in this middle circle and watched all these people killing each other. And finally got to the final 4, and I actually, like, I had a suppressed pistol, killed this guy. Now there's 3 left, and I'm one of them. And I guess the guy caught me shooting somebody, sniped me, and then sniped the other guy. Boom, done, game over. But I've actually finished, my best I've done is third. But I've actually had like 4 or 5 games where I've finished 3rd or 4th. Like I've had a bunch of games being in the top 5, top 10. But yeah, man, this game, maybe that's part of it why I'm enjoying the game so much, is like I'm actually finishing fairly high. There's definitely been some games where I've like been in the 50s or 40s, where it's got like a little overzealous or just bad luck. There's definitely a lot of luck to this game, especially when you're finding some loot. But yeah, man, it's just, man, it's definitely one of the more tense. Like it gets like, it brings on a lot of emotions that I don't really think a lot of games can bring on, and like especially this consistently, where it's just like every game I play, it's just like, all right, man, all right, do this, all right, what the fuck was that? It's almost like a horror game in a way, where it's just like you're always on edge, like waiting for something to jump out and get you, and that's what this game is. It's just, it's a lot of fun. It's incredibly fun. And it can be frustrating, especially when like you get, like, I've had so many firefights where I bump into the guy and he kills me, and if I would have got one more shot off, I would have got him first. But yeah, it's, oh man, it's so fun. Like I said, it's free to download. You can buy cosmetic stuff. There's actually like, they do seasons. Like this is season 3, and you can buy, it's like, I think it's like $8. You can buy like the thing that like unlocks like tiers and more loot for you. And like I said, it's all cosmetic stuff. You level up, but the levels don't really mean anything other than unlocks more stuff for you. It's very similar to like an Overwatch in that sense, where like the things you can get with the money you spend in real life. You can obviously earn all these things while just by playing the game, and it makes no difference what level you are or what gear you have going into the game. It's just like I said, all cosmetic. And like I said, I traded a bunch of games. I put $20 into this game, but I've definitely got $20 out of this game and just fun and time played. I'm gonna put a shit ton more time into this game. So yeah, I would say if you haven't checked this game out, it's free. Just check it out. It's on everything. Nice. It's on mobile. It's on PS4, Xbox One, PC. Yeah, Gables, download it. I'll play it with you. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, like I said, it's incredibly fun, and can't wait to play more of it. I'm gonna play a lot more of it probably tomorrow too. Or actually, today's technically Sunday now. So happy Easter, Gables. Yeah, even though it's not Easter your time, it's Easter my time now. No. Yeah, happy Easter everybody else too if you're listening to this when it comes out. But yeah, that's really all I've been playing this week. I've been playing a lot more games probably this week than I have in a single week in a very long time. So it's been a really fun week, just gaming, and especially one really new game and another game that's probably one of the most popular games in gaming right now. But I think that might do it for the show this week, Gables.
Yeah.
You want to hear more from us? We have a page and group on Facebook, Drunk Nashers Podcast. Like and join us on there. Twitter @Drunk Nerds Pod. Follow us on there. On YouTube, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Subscribe and give us a big thumbs up on our shows on there, please. On iTunes, Drunk Nashers Podcast. Subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Leave us a nice little comment. We'd really appreciate if you did that. And on Twitch, follow us and also send us friend requests. We like friends. Friends are good. We do stream on there every so often. So thank you guys so much for listening. I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, you have yourself a happy Easter, game hard, and just have some fun.
Oh, and hey, Gables?
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, dude.
Boys.
See ya.